Greetings and salutations to all you folks out there. So we're going to be looking at the Island Zero for a map today. We're going to have a 4 versus 4. It's right there smack dab in the middle of the average Joe's rank range. And this should be a really fun game. Couple of new things coming to the channel I'm going to hit really quick and then we'll dive into the action here. This coming week, it is actually a year since Forge Alliance Forever was acquired by Viznik, and I'm actually going to have an interview with him, and there's the echo. Out there. Holy crap. Sorry, guys. So Viznik's going to come on for another interview just for the 1 year mark, so look forward to that in the next week. And also, I did a little collaboration game with a guy. I'm not going to reveal who it is at the moment. That cast is going to come out on Monday. And we're just going to see how this turns out. I played a game with him, and he played a game with me. We're going to go up on our respective channels, and I may actually get him to come on to co-host a couple of casts here and there. So we'll just see how that turns out. Look forward to that on Monday, in addition to the normal cast during the week. All right, let's go ahead and dive into this game and see where it takes us. I suppose we should probably introduce the teams first off. On the northern side, we have Godinel taking the brilliant purple color as Cybran, and we've got the anti-FA. Don't know why he would name himself such a thing when he's obviously in the FA, but whatever. He is taking UEF. Then we've got Isolysis as Seraphim, and No Project rounding out the northern left side team, whichever you prefer. That is going to be another Seraphim player. Seraphim for Almighty Bat as well. Then we've got, these are some weird names today. That is, Ballin' Chick? I'm not sure. We're going to call him Chick. He is Aeon. And we've got Black Star as Aeon, and then Jockney as Aeon. So 3 Aeons on the southern team. These guys better love them some hippie, otherwise they are going to be in for a bad time. Looks like we've got some really highly aggressive ACU action going on. Almighty Bat is going to be pushing his ACU directly into the opposing base. This could work out brilliantly or catastrophically depending on how things goes. We can get his ACU all up in there and kill off those 4 engineers and then start laying down fire on the factory. That is going to basically eliminate a player. Isolysis will not be able to build anything at that point. He'll be able to snag some of this reclaim out here in the middle, but not really do anything useful. So this is a very, very nice move, especially when he's pushing artillery across to back it up. I can definitely approve of this strategy. Island Zero is a really interesting map. I've played on it a few times. I'm going to host a game on it after this for the live game that I play with you guys. Basically, it is a crescent of land. You can dump Navy in the middle. You can dump Navy on the outside. Expansions to both corners of the map. And what on earth? Almighty has built power generators next to a factory that he is now reclaiming. That has got to be a misclick. I have no idea what's going on there. That is exceedingly strange. Chick is going to push Isolysis back, but he is shedding quite a substantial amount of health. He's well over 1k in the hole versus Gray. Gray does still have his Hydro online, so it's not a total loss, and we have a double team coming in on Almighty Bat. He has got to get back to the water, otherwise he is dead meat. This is what I was afraid of. When you have all these bases this close together, there's a couple of ACUs just a short distance away from you at all times. So if you push out too far, you're going to end up getting triple teamed like is happening here. No Project doing a good job with some ACU placement there, tripping up the ACU and trying to prevent him from getting to the water. But it looks like he is going to be able to make it. Actually, some of the teammates soaking damage for Almighty. FA does have friendly fire. So if you are firing and another ACU or another unit is in between you and your target, then you are going to damage that and not your intended victim. Almighty Bat is going to push over to the left-hand side, got a torp launcher being dropped by No Project, immediately going to get forgotten about, and Black Star is going to reclaim this naval factory as soon as it is laid down. This is, I think that's going to be the end of the super early aggression because these guys are around half health. If they venture out too much further, well, no, he is going to go for it again. That is a very steep cliff to walk up right there. That is for sure. Ah, reclaiming the engineers. One good thing about how steep that is that basically you can take 10 steps into the water and your head goes under. Very, very deep water. Okay, Isolysis is slowly getting his base back down. It's basically starting over. He had no mechs, he had no factory, it's just his hydro power plant and one engineer, I think, was all that was left. And it's going to take him a little bit to get back in the game here. Another land factory being reclaimed. These guys are just being a royal pain in the buttocks. And that's, again, not optimal. Black Star and No Project both damaging Almighty Bat, hitting him from opposite sides, even though one of them is a teammate. Reclaiming the mass extractor there. With the T1 engineer, I think the reclaim is actually slower than damaging it shot by shot on a T2 mass extractor. It may be about the same speed. With a T2 ACU, it is faster to reclaim something than to damage it without the gun upgrade, which is kind of hilarious, but I guess it does potentially make sense. Oh, trying to wall in the ACU there. Not entirely successful. Going to try to pull a blocker move. But again, with this gloriously deep water right here, it's going to be pretty easy to get away from any incoming fire. That torp launcher is going to be a problem, though. 2,300 health, was not able to finish reclaiming that. He is going to have to fall back very quickly. He will get away, but it's going to be with very low HP, so a little bit to be worried about there for sure. Got drops going on, transports all around, and I've been busy focusing on those ACUs. Looks like we've got the northern/left team. I don't know, this map is divided on a diagonal, and it is highly confusing as to what I should call this. Let's go with Team 1 and Team 2. Team 1 has got both expansions dropped, and 90% of the mexes are going to belong to purple. So we're going to see a huge eco for God and Nell. With those Cybern naval units, he should be pushing Salem's in just a little bit. That could get quite nasty for the southern team. One of the things to remember about Island 0 is that the T2 destroyers for Aeon and Cybern can reach the entire landmass from either side of the water. So it doesn't really matter which navy gets overwhelmed or which side it is, you're going to lose everything. That's just how it goes. T1 artillery pouring across the abyss from No Project. It's going to kind of take a park out here in the middle, which is going to give ample opportunity for reclaim. Seeing a couple of those T1 artillery disappearing here. A nice little tasty bit o' mass for Black Star and a little bit less combat power for No Project. Saw us pushing out into the middle a little bit here. Lots of T1 units out there. But with a little backup from his teammates, I think he should be fine. Hover tanks, that is a good solution to this map. The anti-FA is pushing T1 Navy and Hover. Interesting approach. If I were him, I would have gone one or the other. Because the naval factory costs a lot of mass and naval units are very expensive. The T2 upgrade is very expensive, and there goes my phone. I forgot to put it on silent. Shame on me. That super high production quality, though. T1 bombers pushing in. Those are going to be headed for the other base, and that could potentially be a problem because the interceptors are not fronting. There's a shard in the way, but it's only going to wing it from the side. It's going to not quite drop that bomber. It is going for the power with a triple drop. That's going to be a one-hit KO on the power supply. Dreadful damage there. Black Star does have a little bit of power, but not too terribly much. He's surviving on some overflow from his teammates, but he definitely needs to get his own power back online because we all know you can't trust your teammates. There's the first T2 Navy in the water. That destroyer has pushed across. It's going to kind of be in range of the defenses, but it doesn't particularly matter. Dropping a factory and a couple of power generators there. This is going to be a powerful harassment tool in the early game, and the Team 2 needs to get air online and fronted. Interceptors do not do any good at all if they're sitting back in the base. And there goes some of that taste build power and very belated response. Looks like we had an upgrade going down here. That would have been a T2, I do believe. Alrighty. The T1 aggression is paying off for Team 2. I think these guys are on roughly equal footing naval-wise, maybe a tiny little bit of an advantage to the southern end. But as soon as this Salem comes out, it will be roughly even. Godinel is far and away the highest eco in here, other than the anti-FA, who is a little bit behind, but reasonably close, the second highest eco. These guys are teching away and playing towards the late game, which may or may not work for them. When you got this kind of force approaching and there's not really anything to respond to it, you might have a little teensy bit of a problem. But if you can survive it, if you have the bigger eco, you will win late game. That is just how it goes. Riptides moving in, those are going to be massively damaging to the T1 forces. They are kind of clumped though, so if Chick could get off an overcharge, well, Destroyer Fire does a reasonably good job as well. If he could get off an overcharge on that clump, that would be a beautiful thing to behold. It looks like he is not going to, and about 2/3 of those T1 units are going to go down between the ACU and that. That was a he barely got away with that one. Under 1,000 health on no projects ACU. He needs to get far, far away, because if he takes a stray shot from one of those destroyers, he is going to go up in flames. That will be 2 bases down. Chick is looking a little bit exposed at the moment, but to be honest, there isn't really a whole lot that can touch him. There's a TT factory up here with 3 units. He's got the double upgrade on that Aeon Commander, which is amazing for a hyper-aggressive position. Yellow is going to flee all the way to the rear. We've got all, wow, 3 ACUs from Team 2 are all ashore on this side and wreaking havoc in the main base. They just need to be careful not to overlap their firing patterns, because a couple of hits from those Aeon destroyers will do a massive amount of damage if you take them in the back. No project, up to about 1,500 health now, but that is still much, much lower than you want to be. A handful of T1 mobile artillery would be able to kill that ACU no problemo. Speaking of which, landing some hits on the power there. This is not looking good for the north side. They still have everyone alive, but they are losing real estate very rapidly. Not a whole lot left intact over here, other than the glorious 71 mass income of NL. If anyone can save his team, it's going to have to be him, because otherwise these guys are dead in the water. Here comes the Salem. He's going to immediately pull ashore, and that is going to act as an area... What? Uh-oh. We had 2 guys go up, which means a mutual KO most likely. Were they from the north or the south team? One from each. Was that Salem fire or was that ACU fire? That is the question we may never know the answer to. Wow. I am terribly ashamed that I missed that. I may have to buzz back through the first part of this replay at +10 just to see what killed him. You guys want to see it in the chat? Comment on that, because I am willing to go back at the end of this replay and see what killed that guy, if you guys are curious. Alright, ACU's fleeing back towards the water. 3,000 health and 11,000. Not too terribly low, but when you have a Salem advancing, there's really no real reason to stay up that close. No TAC missile upgrade. Dying of curiosity over here. There was a cruiser temporarily, but that Salem was able to knock it out, so that air denial tool is no longer online. These guys are down to 1 base, pulling 74 mass per tick income versus 44, 53, and 43 for the southern team. So that is a huge advantage one-on-one, but as a whole, this team obviously has way more build potential. As these guys reclaim, though, they are going to get a lot of value out of that. They just need to decide what to build with it and build quickly. We've got a little bit of T2 air over here and plenty of interceptors on the line. I think actually, yeah, more than enough interceptors to overpower the Team 2 are producing more gunships. I do believe that is a gunship. One awesome thing about the Aeon Navy, if you're going versus it, they have absolutely no anti-air on their frigates or destroyers, so a couple of T2 gunships can easily destroy a large amount of Aeon Navy if there aren't any cruisers nearby. Basically what we see going on here, and none too soon, because this base is starting to take hits, and that is something that Team 1 cannot afford. Already in a bad position, definitely don't need to make matters worse. 2 Salems online, going to start pounding the ever-living daylights out of those Exoduses, and the gunships assisting. That's going to make quick work of those. I don't think we're going to lose anything too terribly important other than a single T2 mass extractor. Looks like Jockney has gone to 70 mass per tick income. Take a look at the reclaim numbers real quickly. What is up with this? There we go. Alright, 1300 reclaimed. I downloaded the UI Party mod just a little bit ago. I think it tweaked some of my settings. I was attempting to use it for getting a strategic map on the live cast, but it did not work out like I intended, and I think it messed up some of my settings. So I'm going to have to go play with those after we do this. The fearsome Aeon Cruiser, by far the single best anti-air unit in the Navy, shredding those T2 gunships. I say that because it has high projectile speed, firing once per second, so it has very little overkill, coupled with some of the highest DPS of any of the cruisers. It has a terrible deck gun and no TAC missiles. It basically devotes its entire mass cost into HP and damage potential, and it is a glorious thing. I love Aeon Cruisers. It's the only cruiser that can actually reach out and kill a T2 torpedo bomber before it drops the bomb to actually hit the cruiser. No Project and Isolysis standing strong in the face of, well, what really is not that much of an army of T1. I would be more worried about the destroyer. We now have 2 guys on T2 Navy. Cruiser parked over here and destroyer moving up on this side, but God Enel has pushed out 3 Salems at this point. They're more than going to be able to deal with that. Low health on that one though. Definitely needs to keep him in the back. He's not quite so exposed. A little bit more reclaim added to the pile. We always love black wrecks all over the map. That means we can suck up some of that tasty mass and turn it into shiny new units for ourselves. Almost like going shopping with someone else's money. And now we're finally going to see a little bit of damage done to Team 2's base. These 3 Salems are parking around on this side, gonna hit up a mass extractor. Maybe they're just gonna chill there. If they were to actually push across down here, there's really not a whole lot that can stop them. There is a T3 tank though. We've got the T3 jump made by Almighty Bat. He is only pulling in 55 mass per tick, but he is full. Mostly thanks to all of the reclaim going on around the map. He is also dropping T1 mexes all the way over here. Now, just an observation that I would make. I would not be here because he has no point defense, he has no anti-air, and he's versus a Cybern player. Now granted, the Cybern player, oh, here comes the gunships. The Cybern player doesn't have a T2 HQ, but I would be absolutely terrified of Fire Beetles. Fire Beetles will put a very rapid end to you. Mobile Flak moving in, he's shedding quite a bit of health on that ACU. When you got 17,000 to begin with, you're not worried about too terribly much as far as a handful of T2 gunships goes. Those Mobile Flak easily taking care of it. And here comes the Siege tank, making its merry way across the water to make landfall over here. 1 ACU in the water, 2 ACUs right there. Let's see, Jockney is in the back end of the base. T2 land, taking quick inventory of what's going on here, and here's what I was waiting for. got the Salems moving into position. This is a mistake. T2 subs will lose 2 destroyers, mass for mass. You do not want to use them. There it goes. The HP and damage is greater for the destroyers versus the subs. I believe it's 2 subs per destroyer in mass costs, if I'm not totally mistaken. And the destroyers have far over twice as much health. So subs in most situations will lose. It's pointless to build them, so I'm not sure why these are getting built. 1800 health versus 6050, I think. Yes, that is the unvetted number. This guy needs to move to the back of the pack so he doesn't take any stray fire. Gotta keep that damage potential online. Salem's moving towards the front. Again, this is a very handy area denial tool. It lays down a lot of damage on 80 range, not necessarily perfect accuracy, and they do get swamped by units very easily, and he's moving a bit too far forward. But you can stand back at a very extreme range and hammer away at any of these stationary objects that the other person's laying down. Salem's actually do outrange Ravagers by 10 range. Can't overwalk any, but they can hit them without taking damage in return. So you can use these to siege a UEF base. The only problem is they move so slowly on land that they are extremely susceptible to T2 stationary artillery and T3 mobile artillery. Pretty much hammer them to death, no problem, and Jotny's in trouble. He was in the water. Sniper bots laying down fire on the Salem. That's something you don't see every day, but is actually a surprisingly effective solution. And there he goes, up in flames. That is pretty much the literal definition of caught between a rock and a hard place. Because if you stay in the water, you're taking torpedo damage, and if you come out of the water, you'll take gun damage from that Salem. Cannot win. The only thing that I will say, 4,000 health and 2 destroyers, right? Nope, 1 destroyer and 3 cruisers, my bad. He is about to die, I do think. Here comes the shot, and kaboom! As soon as one person dies on one side, one dies on the other. Although that is not any great loss because he basically has 4 factories and 1 mass extractor. So it is an ACU down. It's always a loss, but as far as infrastructure and unit count, Team 1 is not really going to lose anything. Godinel still ahead in eco, mainly because of these expansions on both sides. Excellent that he locked those down in the early game. I really don't understand why the southern team is not being more aggressive towards those expansions, because those things are wide open for a kill. We've got 5 Mantis and 5 Medusa on the north one with a single Corsair and no combat units on the south one. So yeah, pretty much anything could destroy those very, very easily. Blackstar does have the ACU shield. That is a full-on offensive commander. But when you got 2, 3 Salems hitting at you from max range, even a shield will go down eventually. And look, that actually can't be attacked by Navy. It would have to be dropped because the cliff is too high. On this side though, nice little beach. It's like something you'd see at a resort. That one would be far, far easier to take. In come the T2 gunships. Don't venture out too far, folks. There'll be cruisers in these waters. Salem's gonna move in, and this is why micro is key. Exodus going in little circles is a very hard thing to hit for Salem's, and Exodus standing still is dead meat. Maybe he can get off that one final shot. There we go. Nail that Salem on the nose and KO. Still got 2 though, which is a problem. I can't argue with the Salem production. It has worked reasonably well so far. Team 1 is regaining ground. They are not out of... Woo! Finally! We're going to see some offensive maneuvers up here. Yenzin's moving in, going to easily dispatch all of those combat units. T2 tanks versus 5 T1s, not really any competition there. Corsair is going to try to shred the numbers, but it's going to take them a few minutes to... Are there really no Oh, there we go. There's some Swift Winds, rather. Not interceptors. I was about to say, is there really no air at all on the southern side? There is, but a very, very tiny amount, and these Corsairs are going to come back in and kill every single one of those tanks with not a single fight put up. It's sad to see when things just lay down and die over there when you have a potential denial. One thing that I would point out, if you have interceptors pointed towards an area on a move order, you can actually swing in behind them with Swift Winds and do a little zigzag motion to continually stay behind them. You can wipe out an entire swarm of interceptors 10 times your size by just staying behind them as they're on a move order and not on any kind of patrol or anything. They won't circle back around. By the same token, don't run in the face of pursuing air. If you notice something like that happening to you, hit the brakes and surround those suckers. You need to kill them before they kill you. Here comes the Strat Bomber. We do have T3 air from Black Star. It's going to kill off that Salem that was in the water. Godinel is now in the bay. And that, I do believe, was a mistake because he is now going to be caught in the water. There is an Exodus class in here that is going to be able to lay down a fearsome amount of torpedo damage, 175 DPS, entirely laid down on that commander. If this Salem dies, and it will thanks to an overcharge from Black Star, that leaves Godinel versus a Exodus class. He does have the torpedo upgrade though, which will kill the Exodus. He's going to shed a fair bit of health though. The torpedo defense on the Exodus is actually reasonably good, but 1 versus that commander is not going to be anywhere near enough, though it will kill off about 4,000 of its health. But there would have been 3 Exodus class, that would have been an entirely different story. Strat Bomber moving on through. There's a lot of shielding up in that base, unfortunately, so not as effective as it could be, but hey, Strat Bomber is always something to take their mind off of you, and here comes a glorious tank ambush. When was the last time you saw Authams damaging a frigate? Actually doing a respectable amount of damage, unless you consider the fact that there is a probably 15 times as much mass in this as there is in that, and they didn't even kill it walking by. Cruiser laying down fire. Good harassment tool, but then again, when you're killing your own units with the stray missiles falling down, you're kind of at a net loss there. These Authams are going to be nasty to deal with. There are no destroyers, no significant torpedo damage. These guys are going to be able to make landfall anywhere they please right here. Probably, they would be more than enough to kill that ACU. I think unless the ACU was able to overcharge 2 groups of 3, that will end in death. And there goes... there goes Black Star. That was thanks to T2 gunships. Ah, the shield went down. So sad to see. T2 gunships, Salems, all kinds of nasty business hammering away on that commander. The overshield is an awesome thing, and it does shed a whole lot of damage away from you. But in the end, it does have a finite amount of HP. 2 tanks were killed. That would have been an overcharge from no project. We're down to 4. ACU pretty much on full health still. We're down to slightly better than a 1 versus 1 here. Yellow does have some stuff down. He's pulling in 11 mass per tick and 860 power. But as far as unit production goes, this is really Almighty Bat versus God and L. It's the Almighty versus God. When you have an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object, who will win it? I think it's the guy that has Yenzines in your... or not Yenzines. The guy who has Authams in your base. Now, if only he weren't standing so close to the power generator that his tanks would take damage when they exploded. God and L losing a whole lot of power there, down to 460 income. That's going to force him and his teammate most likely into a ferocious power stall. Nope. No project will be able to overflow ever so slightly to his teammate. So many tanks moving in, T3 and T2. The glories of amphibious tanks. Screw your pathfinding problems, we can just spread out anywhere we please. I know Authams are generally terrible, but when they're already at close range, they do pack the most damage per mass of any T3 assault unit. Not a fact to be dismissed lightly. T2 gunships moving in. Unfortunately, there is no mobile flak. It is back here. It should be up there. The Almighty has made a mistake. T2 power is going back up ASAP. But when you're that crippled on production, I'm actually amazed that he needed to keep the shield online. He must have shut down some other stuff to make that happen. Nope. There goes this pleasant little bubble. I think that was when no project overcharged. When he overcharged and his energy storage was no longer full, he's not overflowing anymore, and his teammate stalls. It's a sad, sad situation to be in. 3 Salem standing over here, but, well, not enough frigates to kill them. The Authams probably won't even dent those things from the underside, thanks to the anti-torpedo flares. B2 gunships finally cleaning up that mess. Now they are going to be headed back down south. These cruisers are doing work. Already killed several mass extractors on this side. T3 engineers moving across to grab some of this reclaim. And T1's on the bottom side. So much mass to be had. 51,000 reclaim for Almighty versus 5,000 for Godinel. Wow, that's an embarrassing discrepancy. No project pulling 12k himself. Very, very nice. Authams moving up onto land. Unfortunately, they're going to take more damage on land than they did in the water. They are going to do a terrifying amount of damage before they die. Probably going to kill off all the power again. I think that would be the best target. Yep, they are being force fired on the power. That is definitely the best thing that they can hope for at the moment. Going for a variety of buildings after that, taking fire from all of these Salems. Will be a total of 5 plus a cruiser. Lots of naval units moving in from Almighty, but may actually not be enough. Probably going to lose 1, maybe 2 destroyers on that one and come out on top. Look down here, Godinel moving across. He is on T2 ACU, I do believe, and those T2 gunships are doing terrible things to this base. There is 1 single solitary interceptor trying to defend the base. It's probably going to go down. Yep. Corsairs may not be very frightening as an air-to-air weapon, but when you've got like 5 of them versus a single interceptor, I think we can all guess who wins that. And those gunships are going to finish off a lot of those factories. Amazingly enough, this naval force has done a lot of damage to God's units. Down to 3 destroyers, but with that gun commander moving in, that is going to help. The boomerang overcharge, a rarely seen beast. But no matter how many overcharges they throw, I can't help feeling like this is a done deal at this point, because there are so many T3 tanks out and about. These need to be over here. Not sure why they're just chillaxing. They definitely need to be on the move. And those T2 gunships, man, they just shred you to pieces. 4, 8, 9, 4. Lots of kills on these. About 45 kills on that group of gunships right there. The ACU is fleeing for his life across the water. I'm not sure how Godinel is even still in this game. That reclaim number is just is so sad. 5,000. He's overflowing 78 per tick off of this. He just has no build power left at all. Almighty Bat still sitting on 53. And no project. Overflowing mass as well, even though he basically has none. This is the... I've told people on many occasions before, killing build power is sometimes as effective as killing eco. And this would be one of those times, because you can have all the mass in the world, but if you don't have any build power to use it, then what good does it do you? You just overflow it, it goes out into the ether, never to return, and that is that. Well, Godinel's laying down power generators on the other side of the map. What is up with this? We've come full circle. Team 2 did it on this side right at the beginning of the game. Here we are at the end, and Godinel is building P-gens on the other side of the map, although I can kind of see why he's doing it, because he is very and rightfully terrified that everything on this side is going to go down as soon as Almighty remembers that he has a ton of T3 tanks there and he can move them into range. Basically, his laziness is the only thing saving Godinel's income at this point. Throw down that factory. Actually, that is a T2 power generator. Not going to criticize it, because I'm sure he will need the power. He's zeroed out at the moment, surviving off of teammates' income. All the mass he could ever ask for right here. All he has to do is reclaim it. Alright, what's the plan here, people? It looked like Team 2 was going to win it. Then it looked like the northern side was going to win it. And now I don't even know. Because there is a very curious mix of utter and complete failure to utilize units that you've already got on the board. And weird things happening. All those gunships are going to run into this mobile flak, and that is not going to end well unless they're targeted on it to begin with. They may be able to take it out before it drops any of the gunships. Oh, nope, going to pull back. Pointless damage taken. I don't even know if he knows that there's only one flak there. He does... Well, those three could be, because he doesn't have them scouted. Alright, that does make sense. We got yellow in the water. We've got teal in the water, and we do have purple on land. I'm going to go ahead and bump up the speed just so that I can miss what happens next. That is my only purpose in bumping up the speed. It looks like no project is going to be the one to die next. If I had to guess, that would be it. Massive frigate movement around the southern tip. Suppose he realizes that he has all of this under control and he's going to try to swing around that other side. T3 tank's going to move in. Not a lot of torpedo damage on any one of those, but when you have a dozen or so, they will be able to kill off an ACU. There is a destroyer coming in to intervene. Apparently that is going to be enough to frighten those tanks away. Get back up on the land. Well, this map has been thoroughly destroyed. It has been months since I've seen a game where essentially you build up all the way to the high point of the game and then the opposing players destroy each other so thoroughly that you end up at 35 minutes with what your income should be at about 16 minutes. And again, the person on top is Godinel. I know Almighty Bat has some fluke numbers right now, but that is mainly due to the fact that he's sucking down Reclaim. Godinel has a 49 per tick income. Got T2 mass extractors on the south side, and he's laid down quite a bit of power spam. And I see now what these guys were headed for. They're in to lock out that cruiser and the potential factory that was coming online. Godinel laying down a T2 HQ, hoping for some more Salems, I'm sure. Is just not able to bring it back online. All of his power is within reach of those frigates, though. This could potentially get very, very bad. The T2 subs will eventually eat through all those frigates, but it is going to take them a long time due to the high health per mass on those frigates. And this needs to go away. There is a tank there that's not actually going to engage anything. Alright, ACU is on land again. Vetting like there's no tomorrow. 20,000 health on that ACU. Salem's on pretty much full health. I think between the gun commander and the Salem's, the frigates will all actually die. Got an L's in the water building torpedo launchers, but when you have a crippled income, I don't think you're going to be able to build much. He is still mass ahead though, so he's building at full speed, just not enough apparently. I think that is a T2 commander, if I'm not totally mistaken. Let me check in on it, and yeah, it's a T2 with the torpedo upgrade, as we discussed before. And don't want to stand in one spot too long, no project, because there is a cruiser trained on you. It'd take a long time for one cruiser to kill you. Still unwise to take unnecessary damage, though. Manta's putting up a fight right up till the very end, but I think once this T1 point defense goes down, no mistaking it, that's going to be a victory on that expansion for the Almighty. It's actually a brilliant place to build T1 power generators. The Navy can't hit it from this side, and it's rather hard for land to hit from this side. You have to use T1 artillery, so kudos to No Project for actually keeping some power online this late into the game. The T3 tanks have moved from up north down to the south. They're going to be able to easily surround Godinel, and he needs to get back in the water. Too late. I know your head dips down quickly, but oh, that was a misplaced move order too, I think. Clicked on a reclaim instead of a move. Just about the end of it. 4,500 health remaining. If those tanks would have been a little bit closer, that would have turned out entirely differently. And don't come out of the water. That's dumb. You need to stay where it's safe. Keep your head under cover. This is the point in the game where you have to evaluate your life choices. The things that you chose to bring you to this point. Like, well, I'm sitting on a map with basically no build power, basically no economy. I know exactly where all the ACUs are, and I can't kill any of them because I can't make the correct units. I think at this point the best solution would be to possibly spam up T2 torpedo bombers on the southern side. Looks like that is a T2 upgrade going down. If he's able to get torpedo bombers up, he has such a handle on air control that I think he could snipe that commander without too much of a problem. There are a couple cruisers in the area, but let's see, he is on 18,000 health. Yeah, that would be a tough nut to crack. It'd probably take 30 torpedo bombers to eat through cruisers. Unless you built... To kill a cruiser, you have to have 5 torpedo bombers at one time, because if you stream them in one at a time, the cruiser vets off of killing the torpedo bombers, and 5 will not do it. So if you sent 5 after one and 5 after the other, that would be 10, and then you could basically just loop around all you wanted. So yeah, maybe 15 or 20 torpedo bombers would kill that ACU. It'd take a little bit of doing though. And these guys are apparently done with doing because they're chilling out and building again. Project is actually directly assisting his naval factory. Not really rebuilding anything. He's going entirely off of reclaim income. Reclaim 21,000 at this point. Barely balancing on his power. Rebuild. Rebuild quickly. You have so much potential over there. Got an L, 13,000 reclaim, 12,000 for no, or I'm sorry, 21,000 for no project, and a whopping 60 for Almighty Bat, who has now got a shiny new expansion to his name. Alright guys, I'm ready to see the end of this. Where is it? What is it? Reveal it unto me. Engineers moving ashore down here on the south side. That is going to suck up some of that oh so tasty reclaim or recycling. Come on, guys. Finish it off. Got T1 artillery moving to the north. Don't think it's going to have a ton of success. There are no hover tanks or anything up here on the north side at the moment, so something will have to be done about that. Got a T3 air factory going down up there. If these are not dealt with, they could potentially kill that. Which would be a sad, sad day indeed. 2 subs versus a destroyer and a handful of T1 subs. I don't know why he is running, because that is an easy, easy win, and then these guys can put in some pressure and potentially take out that ACU, wing around the north side of the cove, and you are in no danger of taking damage from all of those torpedo launchers. Frigates partially took care of it. Gonna lose 1 mass extractor, and there's 1 T1 artillery left alive. Nice response with those. The T1 power spam is real. That is for sure. Apparently the cruisers can fire over it. Ah, yes. With a pretty wide margin of clearance. I spy T3 spy planes and torpedo bombers. The only thing that sucks about this is the fact that the Seraphim torpedo bomber just... Well, it's better since the balance patch, but it's still the worst torpedo bomber. It is the only torpedo bomber affected by torpedo defense, unless I totally missed something and that was changed in the last patch. So you can potentially lose out on a lot of damage that way. This formation down here, you would think, oh, TAC defense can't possibly kill all of those missiles. Well, you would be partially correct. If those were UEF cruisers, they would be punching through all of that, no problem at all. The UEF cruiser has a stacked firing pattern with 2 health missiles that's specifically designed to overwhelm TMD. On the other hand, the Seraphim consistently launch evenly spaced missiles 1 at a time with 1 health each. So basically 1 TMD almost counters 1 cruiser. So if you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cruisers, that means if you built about 10 TMD at the same spot, the cruisers would not be able to touch it. Here comes the T4 torpedo bombers. Oh, that's a lot of damage. Gotta now get out of the water. You're gonna die if you stay there. And thanks to ground impacts, 900 health, but he is going to get out. Question is there another snipe of some sort that can take him out? T3 tanks on the north end. Just a handful of shots at those, and that ACU is going down. Now that they're so... Oh! Hammering away at that one, too. And that's death. Oh, no! And... hip hip hooray for terrain. Thought he was going to die to that one as well. Took a little bit of damage. Now he's going to walk into the T3 tanks. I think that is going to be the end of it. And kaboom! Finally! Finally we can end this madness. Gonanel is dead. That leaves only no project. It was actually successfully pushing across with T1 artillery. Kill all this naval build power. Not a bad move at all. Well done, my good sir. And this is an anti-torp launch, anti-torp plane ACU. Got that flat tag to it. All right, we've got 9 income versus 51. I really don't see how yellow survives this unless this stupidity continues, but we will just have to see. Overall, stupidly hectic game. I don't understand a lot of what happened there. That was somewhat a confusing game. Ah, there we go, strap bomber. That's going to be the killing mechanism right there. A lot of back and forth. Lots of Almighty Bat quit. Well, apparently he handed over the win. There was a desync detected, but the desync was after the quit. So that means that, well, I don't know. That close to the end, I'm going to assume... Yeah, I'm going to assume that the strap bomber killed the ACU, I think. Who knows? Let's call it a tie. The desync will never let us know. All right. Wowzers. Okay, I am going to chill out for just a second. I'm going to scroll back through the chat and see if we decided, do we want to plus 10 through to the first 10 minutes of the game to see what killed those initial 2 ACUs. I'm actually leaning towards that. So I'm going to go through the chat and read real quick. I'll be back in about 45 seconds or so after I've caught up, and we will continue with this madness. Dance perfect. I would not eat mac and cheese if it had American cheese instead. That is an atrocity that should not be inflicted upon humanity. I cannot count the amount of times that I would go over to my grandmother's house and no, she couldn't just have Kraft macaroni and cheese mix. No, she had to actually make elbow macaroni noodles, and then after the noodles were made, she would put a slice of American cheese on it and microwave it to melt the cheese, and it was the nastiest stuff. Ugh. So terrible. Alright. I had to come back for that comment, because that triggers a lot of bad memories. Oh, man. Peanuts. It is not a case of insufficient female genetics. It's a case of having 2 screens and one being way over to the other side, and I'm always afraid that if I'm like reading through the chat on one screen, I'm going to completely and totally miss something on the other screen. Now granted, I did miss an ACU death on this one, so it might be a moot point, but who knows. I don't know. I don't like flipping back and forth when I'm in the middle of the game. Would I consider a dual cast with Guile like he and Alex did? I have actually. I talked to Guile about it, and the biggest problem with that is the fact that he is incredibly busy with his personal life, and then we are on opposite time zones. So it really, really restricts the amount of options we have for collaborating. Like I did mention at the beginning of the cast, though, I actually did hook up with a guy from the UK. Actually, not the UK. He is Scottish. And that will be going up on Monday. Basically, we just met up for a casual game to get to know each other a little bit. And we may be doing dual casts in the near future. The best games are when 50 minutes in and it ends up as a draw. Yes, we're both losers. I don't know that I would agree. I am a big fan of having a decisive end to a game, because then you can come to a conclusion, you can wrap it all up, you can have a happy ending for one side or the other, and I don't know. It just makes me feel better, I suppose. All right, we're going to host up a game here. We're going to go with the original FAF. We're going to host Island 0, because now I want to play the map now that we've seen a game on it. I'm probably going to die horribly, as I always do in the live cast, but we're going to do it anyway. Yes, Scotland is part of the UK, but I draw a distinction because they do actually have their own unique dialect, their own unique accent. So it helps me to draw a line between the two. It's kind of like me saying The difference between saying he's from the United States and he's from Texas or something like that. Yeah. American cheese is not actually cheese. It is, let's see. Let me get this set up real quick and then I'll chat. We're going to do, what have we been doing? 500 through 1800? I think that's what we've been doing. 500 through 1800. And we are going to be on Island 0. HIJKLMNOP. Who else does that? Have you got to sing the whole alphabet song when you're going through alphabetical order? I know that wasn't the whole alphabet song, but the principle still applies. You can't just say one letter. You've got to go through. Like, H is a starting point for me. Silly, silly people. All right, we're going to do random spawns. Random. I'm going to go random faction. Nobody else has to go random factions. And I think that will be all share until death. Yes, that is a good thing. And everything else looks good. All right. Coolio. Now I can sit back and chat. All right. What were we talking about? Types of cheese.
Formed. Group formed.
American is not actually cheese. Let's let me search it and see.
Group formed.
It's like processed dairy fats and other things. Do we want to use Wikipedia? Let's go to cheese.com. Okay, American cheese. Bam. Processed cheese made from a blend of milk, milk fats, and solids and other fats with whey protein concentrates. At first, it was made from a mixture of cheeses, more often than not Colby and cheddar. This is not used anymore. It cannot be legally called cheese and has to be labeled as processed cheese or cheese product. Yes. American Singles or American Slices. The American Singles is the craft brand, which most people usually get. It's not actually that bad. I will eat it on sandwiches. It melts really nicely. It's kind of like Velveeta, which is not actually cheese either. So it is nice for some things, but I wouldn't really classify it as a cheese. If I'm going to go after cheese, I love 8-year smoked cheddar from Wisconsin. Oh my goodness, I love cheddar cheese. And the sharper, the better. Yes. Do that with a little piece of sausage on a cracker. So tasty. Sit there and eat that until I pop. Okay, we have a full game and a decent rank range, so we're just going to go ahead and X and go. First come, first serve, unfortunately. All right. The port is 6112. Yes, that is correct. CJ Smith. If you're still not connecting correctly, you should probably try. Let me see here. Let me think about common causes. You should probably try turning off your firewall or making an exception for FA in your firewall, and then also check your antivirus programs, because that type of thing, anything that is intercepting your the packets on your network is going to cause issues, and we have a map crash. No! Who doesn't have the map? What madness is this? And why does it always happen to me? Alright, we got 2 dead people. Newbie and Hussar are both at zeroed out data. So those 2 people are not going to be in the lobby next time. Quick rehost. Newbie and Hussar. Help me remember those. Rehost. You did make it in the first time. You have a chance now. There's going to be 2 people not coming back.
Group formed. Group formed.
CJ Smith.
Group formed.
That can sometimes work as cheese. It doesn't work more often than not once you get past about 1,000 rank range, because people are typically prepared for things like that. All right, we don't have any of those people who weren't in here, so we're good. Exit up and hit the go button. Oh wow, that's a slow CPU. 340. Get this show on the road. Peanuts. It wasn't necessarily someone who didn't have the map. It may be someone who had an issue on launch, or if someone crashes on launch, I believe it looks about the same as that. All right, let's see what faction egg pulled. Cybrin, the glorious master race. Gonna go ahead and lay down. Or makes me nervous. If anyone is in the stream and ended up on the other team, I would greatly appreciate you closing your window now, because no one likes people getting loads of free intel. Alright. Now that everyone has left, because we all know that people are gentlemen, alright, I'm gonna go 3 mass extractors, walk up just a teensy tiny little bit, and assist the Hydro, and then I'm gonna push my ECU to the front. We're gonna go Hydro with the Engineer, and then a nice little string of T1 power, just to give ourselves a teensy tiny little boost. We're gonna assist there and walk, and then I'm going to assist this Engineer here for boosted power income. Gotta get them P-gens. I'm debating. Should probably send an Engineer across to there. We'll see what happens. And drop a Mex and reclaim. Because everyone loves good reclaim. Then I need to start getting some units to cover my butt. For sure, for sure. Mex. Let's do those to round out our factory count. Alright. Should be good. Let's start a Mex upgrade, and we're just going to park this little Engineer right by this and suck up a little mass here and there where we need it. We don't want to overflow and waste any of the mass, but at the same time, we do want to inject it into our early economy. We got to make sure that we don't power stall either. Alright, going to assist him on the build and shoot some Mantis up front. Definitely want to get that scout in there reasonably early as well. Alright, eco looks reasonably well balanced. Been fine so far. That'll be an ACU, which means that all of the other mass has likely been reclaimed. And head off this way, and crap, that's a double team. So I'm going to back the hell up. Oh well, it was worth a shot.
Commander under attack.
And let's push. Push these 3 Engineers over here. Alright, let's think about our options. What do we want to do to stop that? This, and then some more power. Let's go for gun upgrade. I think that would be the wise thing to do. We'll go ahead and use our handy-dandy build power on the Mantis. That whopping 1 build power. You gotta have 10 Mantis to double the power of your ACU. But hey, every little bit helps. I think that is enough. Alright. I'm going to pause you. Go up here. It's a land factory. That to start with. A little bit of power built up, so we're going to unpause. Let's do this, and then a power storage actually go off that way. Stop there. Don't push in too far, bud. Wait for backup. You can do it. Somebody will gift me some power, I can finish this gun upgrade. Ah, beautiful! I love you, teammates. And drop this gun upgrade ASAP and get into the fight. Got our power storage up. That means that we will be able to overcharge at will. We'll be fine and dandy. Alright, moving across. We got our T2 mechs online. That means that, you know what, I'm actually going to start the rest of my factories producing instead of upgrading another mass extractor. So we're going to ride a slight negative on mass income in order to push out a lot of T1 units, and then once we start mopping up a little bit of reclaim later on, we will be able to support a upgrade at that point. And an overcharge on you for a little bit of extra damage, and we're going to close the distance as quickly as we possibly can. Hopefully I can get this guy tangled up in some Mantis and get an early kill, because early kills are good. Early kills are great. Early kills win games. If we can wrap this guy up and slaughter him, that means that there will be one less eco to deal with later in the game. Alright, come on, clog up the steps. There we go. That's how we're supposed to do it. And kaboom! Kill number 1. We do, however, have another AC right there, which I cannot see for the life of me because blinding. Alright, where am I at? Okay, now we can move in. Alright, gotta get my factory queue in the right place, and don't walk in front of your teammates, folks.
Commander under attack.
Pressure, pressure, pressure! There we go. I spy some point defense in the back here. And there is a Jester.
Commander under attack. Under attack.
Alright, I'm on 2,000 health. I'm gonna back out. People are being kind enough to pop these Jesters off of me, but I'm just gonna back up, call it good. We're gonna start this other mass extractor upgrade that we were talking about earlier. And we're just gonna run for the hills. Because I think that is enough extension for one day. I am 3 kills off of a veterancy, so actually, if the I'm gonna run for the water. Please, 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 please kill that Jester. Thank you. All right. get through these units here and don't go to water. Why not? Oh, subs. Okay. Alright, alright. I'm gonna get up here. I think actually, air is gonna be my biggest threat for the next couple of minutes. And these guys have the push well in hand. So I think I am going to pull all anti-air to my ACU and leave it like that. Okay, we're good. Let's start dumping NGs into the water, because I am going to go Navy after this. There's already a oh, crud. That means there's a frigate. No, don't be there. There's the frigate. Alright, I can overcharge it. We're just gonna head out here, and if I can get rid of that frigate and get into the water, we'll be fine. I'm gonna let these engineers go out to die so that I can get eyes on the frigate. Get eyes on it one more time, place the overcharge order, and it will stay with it. Where are you? There you are. Alright. Once we have a dead frigate, I'll be able to build Navy, and we will be golden. I love this down here. T2 Navy for the win. As long as you don't stab your teammates in the back. I'm going to go in here and reclaim some of that, and I think we'll be good. Ah, beautiful edges. Hanging that upgrade for me. Alright, we're going to drop a sonar, and then a naval factory. We'll be good. There's a destroyer. Crap. So we're going to need our destroyer very, very quickly. Will we be able to get out in time? I do not know, but we will try. All right. Actually, I'm gonna get the torpedo upgrade, I think. Nope, too late for that. Run! Okay, this is a problem. If I can get the torpedo upgrade in the water, I will actually be able to do something. Maybe he'll overcharge that. I am too far away to get close enough to do that. But if he can get it, get in there and overcharge that, we'll actually be in good shape. 25% built and taking a lot of damage directly to the factory. Not cool. Not ideal. I don't have air. That's a problem. Oh, why didn't you overcharge, my friend? At least our air player's paying attention. I do have that detecting for. Alright, once my ACU finishes this, we will be golden, I think. And then my next item on the agenda should be to build some power. I do have enough, I have enough health now to tank this. So I should be able to knock out the Salem without any problem with my torpedo damage. And we'll be good. There we go. Don't run away from me. Don't you dare run away from me. That's not how this works. Oh, don't kill the factory. Why did it change to where when you reassist, instead of healing health on the factory, it freaking... For some reason, it starts assisting the unit inside. So you can't actually heal the factory anymore. Which is a really, really dumb way to do it. Oh crap. Come back. Assist that. Don't overflow mass. Bad.
Commander under attack.
Alright, that one's gonna be dead. Boom. Now we'll get this other one. Still got 5,000 health. We're on equal footing health-wise, and I have way more torpedo damage than he does. That's right, you better run.
Commander under attack.
Have health already. Die.
Commander under attack.
You're dead before you get out of range. Come on,
Commander
one more volley.
under attack.
And nope, torpedo defense saved it. Crap. Oh well. Alright, we're not very mass stalled. We're -2, and we have a lot of T2 mass extractors. I'm going to go ahead and bite the bullet and get this upgrade. Then we're going to go ahead and start capping. Yes, I do fully realize that it will begin to put us in the negatives, but I think we will be fine. Died. Ah! Someone on the other team! Well, that's not a problem. I'm always happy anytime someone on the other team dies. There goes the Salems. They are walking across the landmass. I'm up here all consumed in my little drama going on up here in this corner. And my team is kicking ass and taking names on the southern side. Kudos to you peeps. Well done. Can't say it was rigged, it was randoms. And I cannot see the Salem anymore. Where's my sonar? There we go. A radar blip does just as well.
Commander under attack.
That is the power of the anti-torp. That flare where you see all of my torps just like flying off to the sides. Oh crap, I'm actually low health. 2,300.
Commander under attack.
Come on, Salem, finish. There you go. You're gonna save me. Stand in front of me with your torpedo defense. Intercept torpedoes. There you go. Yay! We're not gonna die. 600 health. 600 health, but we're not going to die. Am I safer in the water or on land? In the water or on land? I don't... definitely on land, but we're gonna walk this way first. Alright, Salem. Do your worst. Please don't die. Please don't die. Please don't die. Interesting point of fact. Salems cannot fire directly backwards or on about a 30-degree angle around them.
Commander under attack.
Oh, close again. Not quite under 1,000 health. Because the bridge gets in the way of the main gun. So the gun can't turn all the way around to fire at that. So basically in an arc from here to here, if you're running from something with a Salem, you can't actually fire behind you. Alright, assist away. We're going to burn our entire eco on Salems. And move, my good sirs, move. Here goes an ACU blast. Was that the last one? I think not. There should be one more ACU there. The Nod Commander. When he goes, we are done with this game. Ah, not only won it, but all four teammates are alive. All three of my teammates, all four on our team, are alive. Brilliant. Well executed, peeps. Nice. Oh, I did misclick adjacency. Oh well. Alright, let me read back through the chat here real quick. Yeah, because apparently I can't multitask anyway. Guile Brinkcast could just be a UEF Cybern argument. Well, okay, I can argue. I can argue for any of the factions because they all have their pluses. I just prefer to play Cybern because it fits my trolling style so well. I like to play a backstabby, sneaky kind of game, and that just happens with Cybern more than it happens with UEF, so that's why I like Cybern. It's not necessarily a story thing or anything like that, I just like the tools available. The stealth is amazing, and I like the Fire Beetles and the Corsairs and that kind of thing. So, yeah. Guile will win because he's arguing for slave scum. I doubt it. Brink will win because Guile is a noob. I mean, no offense by it, but he just doesn't play as much as I do. Reclaiming, it's like drugs. Yes, it definitely is. Interesting point of fact. People discussing age in here, how 31-year-old is currently learning from Zoc and that kind of thing. The player base is actually relatively old on FA. Like, compared to other video games, you know, you look at first-person shooter communities and that kind of thing, and you're seeing 20s, early 20s, late teens, like college-age people. With FA, a significant portion of the community is 25 plus, and I know for a fact there's at least 5 people on here that are over 60 that are playing. So, you know, there's that. It's kind of unusual, the dynamic in the community. Peanut saying he's too old for FAF. There is no such thing. You cannot be too old for FAF. There are a pair of Sentence players, Arend and Monkey, or Dragon, whichever one she goes by. And it is a guy and a girl who date each other. I don't think they're actually engaged, and they're like late 40s. So, yeah. All you got to do is sit down and learn it. Mods are not necessarily more CPU hogging than the main game, but any modern Intel CPU can run this game. It's not that big of a deal. And I think that's all of the chat that I need. Alright, I think that is going to be it for today. Okay. Yep, I finished the chat. Yeah, I know. OMG 60 plus. It is a surprise, but there's a lot of really cool people here. I think even Viznik is, I don't know his exact age. He's at minimum 45. I think he's pushing up past 50 if I'm not totally mistaken. And I mean, he's the one who loved the game so much that he got the servers back online. So, yeah. Oh, peanuts. Okay, that comment makes more sense. All right. If nobody else has any questions, comments, or snide remarks, I think I'm going to wrap that up. It was a fun game. It really was. Thanks to all the guys who played with me in here, and I have a bunch of cool stuff lined up for next week. We're going to be doing the Viznik interview for 1 year under new management for FAF. I've got the guest appearance by that other guy, which is not so much a cast, it's just a casual game that I had with him. We basically jumped in for 2 games together, recorded the gameplay as a get-to-know-you time, and then maybe in the weeks to come we'll schedule some mutual casts, because he does do a lot of RTS stuff, so look out for that on Monday. And then, as usual, 2 normal casts, and then the live cast on next Saturday. So, tune in for those. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you over there.